What's up, everybody? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into the games tonight, and I'm happy because we finally have some narratives back. The last couple nights, we had no excuses. We had Eagles-Texans. A lot of the basketball games were just like rematches of the games before, so there wasn't a lot of narratives to work off of, but tonight we have a lot more, so I'm happy about that. And I also wanted to go into the wrestling odds because Crown Jewel is tomorrow, and on some of these games, we're actually getting really good odds. Not great, but they're better than they could be. And 3 or 4 days ago when I did a video, I brought up who I thought was going to win some of these matches that were showing, and they were underdogs at the time. The OC and Brock Lesnar were both minus 400 and minus 350 is what they were each. Now you can see they've moved up a lot. McIntyre was a 50-50, as was Bianca. Now you can see they've moved ahead. And that's what I was trying to say with my election videos. These blinds are moving fast. So I'll go through this real quick. Roman Reigns, yeah, it'd be funny if Paul lost. That Paul won after Reigns ran through everybody for 3 years. But it's just not going to happen. Again, it's in Saudi Arabia. So stuff like that's definitely not going to happen. So Reigns is going to win this match, but they're going to make Paul look good. Same with Lesnar. They're going to make Lashley look good, but Lesnar's not losing in Saudi Arabia. He's getting paid a lot to fly out there, and he's not putting Lashley over. It doesn't make sense. He already wrestled Lashley, and he did put him over. So it just makes no sense here. They're just going to have a good old-fashioned UFC-style match, and Lesnar's going to win. The OC has AJ Styles. They're in Saudi Arabia. He's the only real recognizable international figure. So I do think the OC with Styles, Anderson, and Gallows win that match. This one's the best odds for now because I think it's actually second best odds. I think Drew McIntyre beats Karrion Kross. They're trying to get Kross over because he did pretty bad and he left with a horrible gimmick and he was fired. But I don't think in Saudi Arabia is the time he goes over. McIntyre's fought Crown Jewel before, so he's more familiarized. I think they keep it simple and have him win, just like Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's going to win. They want him to look strong. Bayley is your potential upset because she's known in Saudi Arabia. But again, so is Bianca. And Bianca's being pushed as this new John Cena. Basically, she never gives up. I think it's like a last woman standing match. So, yeah, I don't see her having Bianca lose that way, even with shenanigans. The Usos hold on because the Bloodline's going to look strong going into Survivor Series. And here, nobody knows who Damage Control is really yet. So, Alexa Bliss and Asuka win. Asuka's very popular in Saudi. So, these are people I have winning. I don't want to go too much into it. I know a lot of you guys don't love wrestling, but that's who I have. So if you wanted to sprinkle a little bit on Drew and Bianca or a little bit on Brock, Bobby, the OC, and Drew, I don't know if you can do a parlay. Mine can't. I can't with wrestling. But that is who I have winning those matches. And I did put a couple hundred in political bets. Now, as I said, I'm happy we're back to some narratives for the NBA. Who I did go with tonight, I wanted to just go over with them why. So I did go ahead and normally I would have stayed away from the Sixers game, but I like the Knicks plus buying. It was actually 4 earlier, so if you have to buy the half more, but Knicks plus 4 I do like. Even 3.5 I like because, like I said, I think they're going to show how Doc's not a perfect coach early on, and it makes sense to me that they do it by having. Okay, here's your first chance. Harden's out, and they don't do too well. So that's just what makes sense to me. It shows that Doc really can't do it without a super team, and that's the narrative they've been forcing. On the opposite end, I think Brooklyn wins. I think they cover this 3 points because here they're trying to show that Kyrie's the problem, and he's getting shamed again now for being anti-Semitic. He really didn't have a chance. He went against the NBA political system. You don't do that. And so Derrick Rose did this a while back, if you remember, and that's why he's not a big name anymore. So Kyrie, he's out. I think Nets win. I think they cover without Nash, if you remember, I told you the other day, Kevin Durant dropped this little bit of an Easter egg. He said something to the effect of, now we have, we're going to get a quick turnaround, or, it's the NBA, get ready for a quick turnaround. Kind of like Russell Wilson did, a little cryptic. And I think the Nets win. I like the Nets here as an upset. Technically, it's an upset. But I'd always take the points. And the Knicks, I do think they cover that 3.5 points. And I bought it, like I said. I got it earlier, so I was getting 4 points. So You don't have to buy the half point, but I think it does help. And I'm not going to, like I said, was saying, where again the trouble is where I play the Bulls Celtics, just because it would be fun to watch. There's a reason these are fun to watch games. It's, especially when the spreads like this, very tough to, I've been noticing they've been wanting to keep it competitive more this year. So I could play one side or the other, but I feel like it'd be our Texans game last night. We're not working with a lot of narrative. We're just kind of blindly picking. And I do like to stick more to the metrics and the narratives, which is why I'm going to double down on the Mavericks again. So it's going to be our third, just so you know, third sequence. So we lost Rice, we lost the Eagles. Sequence here is going to be Dallas, and I meant a second leg. I don't know why I said third sequence. Dallas -3, and I think it was 58 I went with. The reason I like this one is because Dallas they've let down at home a few times this year, and I don't think they're going to keep doing it. They have such a loyal home crowd. I do think they win this one at home, and as I showed you, I do like the Nets to cover the 3 points. I think they actually win the game, just because without Nash, without Kyrie, it's just a perfect narrative in my opinion. So I don't want to get in the habit of playing too many. I think I've been doing that, and as you can see, then we have open sequences, and we don't want that. So I really just looked through the ones I really liked. I really like the Mavs because they haven't come through that much. I really like the Nets, and I really like the Knicks. The last one that I really like is I like fading the Bucks and taking the Wolves. I don't think the Bucks are starting. I know, they keep proving me wrong, but I just don't think the Bucks are starting 6-1. It's going to be or something against the spread. Teams just don't keep that pace up. Yeah, and that's the over/under. Yeah, 6-1. As you can see, so is Cleveland and Portland. I don't think that stays up. I think it drops. And we could pick the Celtics for that same reason. It just, I don't want to try and, that one's going to be so much money on this 8 o'clock primetime game that I don't feel like there's going to be as much on the Bucks. Not as many people watching at 10, and just not as popular of a game as Bulls-Celtics. So while I think there's going to be money on the Bucks T-Bulls, I think the Bulls-Celtics could very well be affected by live wagering more. So I want to just stay away from that one. If I had to pick, then I'd probably go with Boston because I think more public's going to be on Chicago here, getting 7. But I just want them staying away from. The ones I really like are the Knicks and Nets. And then on the other side, I like the Wolves and Mavs. For the later games, I do lean Blazers and Lakers. Just because I know 12 sounds like a lot and it sounds like a trap. But there are still so many people that don't have the Blazers as a top 6 team in the West. But they have the Suns as a top 2. So the Blazers are being viewed like the Knicks are this year. So imagine if the Knicks were to play... I'm trying to think who... See, a lot of the teams in the East this year aren't as good as they were last year. But imagine the Knicks were to play the Warriors or something in Golden State. Or the Bucks in Milwaukee. They'd be getting, almost, I think in my opinion, close to double-digit odds. And I think that's the reason the Blazers are. A lot of people are going to see us as a trap and take Phoenix plus the 12. And it goes against my metric of the Blazers they have a good record against the spread. I just think they are trying to show people that the Blazers are not a average team this year. And they need to do that early on. So, you see Phoenix going for a 6th straight victory. I think they show off Dame. They show off, I know GP's out and yeah. So I think they show off, I always mix them up, Ants, what I meant. But I think anytime Dame is out, people make the mistake of just thinking that Portland's going to suck that night. And as you can see, DeAndre Ayton's out. They hide stuff like that, so people might not even know. But you got Dame out. I do think players like Shadion and Josh Hart, and they have a handful of them, just step up and play much better. They did this last time. They were missing Dame, and I think they wound up winning the game against a good team. It was like the Wolves or something. So, in Phoenix, I'm not saying they win, but I think without Dame, a lot of people are going up to pick them -12. Pick Phoenix, -12. But then you see Ayton's not in. I don't see how they can really stop Nurkic, even in a rigged league, how they're going to, pretend to try and stop Nurkic and Grant. So I do think the Blazers cover. That one's more because of just logistics. The Wolves I like because I think people are seeing, everyone's saying they're trash. They're just a bunch of wasted money. So I think they're going to cover that spread and take a lot of public money. Mavericks, same thing. They're being presented weak, so I think they might get faded a decent bit. And they have to come through at home. Some of these teams just have to come through at home. The Mavs really haven't yet. So I'm waiting for that. And then I do really like the Nets and the Sixers. I'm sorry, I like the Knicks to beat the Sixers. But they are getting 3.5, which helps. So I'm sorry it's later today. I just slept a lot. And for the college game, I'm not going out of my way to play it, but I am leaning with taking Washington. I'd buy it down to 4, just because they could have pushed any team. But I was watching this weekend, and they were pushing Washington like, oh, they can still get in the playoff because they only have one loss in the division. They weren't pushing Oregon and all these other guys the same way. So I don't know why they were pushing Washington that way. But something tells me they're going to beat Oregon State pretty bad tonight. They were even talking about how many points you've scored can make a difference. So I have a feeling that's why that Washington's a favorite in this game. I did buy it to 4. And like I said, that's not what I'm jumping out of my way to play. So I only did like 15 to win 15. But as far as like second sequences and things of that nature, I do like the Knicks and Nets the most. And then for some new first sequences, I did go ahead and go Blazers, Timberwolves, and Mavericks. So nothing fancy. I just want to stay away from the other games because I think that's where my mistakes have been. Playing too many games, and a lot of these games there's no narratives, unfortunately. We're only going to get them once in a while. So I tried to go with the ones that look like upsets, not even upsets, just where someone's going to be fading a team or picking a team. Bucks very good against the spread. I don't think that continues. And I just think that teams like the Sixers and the Nets, the Sixers need to lose this game to make Doc look bad, and the Nets need to win this game so they can say it's Kyrie's fault. And I think we all know that's where that. Of all the games, that one I have the most faith in because I've been watching this narrative for about 9 months. This Kyrie, is a joke basically by the league. So yeah, that's all my picks. Like I said, I'm going to be dwindling it down, so we're not playing 4 or 5 sports and playing 6-7 games deep. It works, but I mean, there's been a couple now where we've got a little lucky. So the Blazers covered by a half the other night. That didn't happen. Now we got like 4 open sequences. So I just want to keep it where I'm really just picking the best possible games. But I will still give advice if you have questions. But honestly, my advice would be pick wrestling on some of the second legs because my wrestling picks are rarely wrong, and B, just these people aren't losing in Saudi Arabia. There might be like one of them that I brought up losing, but that's about it. So that's all I got. Everyone take care. Happy earnings. And I will have a video out tomorrow going over all actually probably later tonight.